1. And roll call.
Director Wooten?
Here.
Director Stobie? Here. Director Morrison?
Here.
Director Carlson?
Here.
Director Easton?
Here.
And I noticed we have some Boy Scouts out in the audience, and I would like to see if you'd be interested in introducing yourself. I'd like to know who you are. You should speak with.
My name is Dennis Concho, and I'm from Troop 117. I'm Taylor Wilson, I'm from Troop 117.
I'm Sammy Root. I'm from Troop 550.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. Would one of you Boy Scouts like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All of you, perhaps.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Letting you know that public testimony will be received on each agenda item after this call. The principal party on each side of the issue is allocated 4 minutes to speak, and individual comments are limited to 3 minutes, except with the consent of the board. Individuals shall be allowed to speak on an item only once. Members of the audience are asked to volunteer their names before addressing the board, and the board reserves the right to waive said rules by a majority vote. So the first item is the adoption of the agenda. Does anybody want to speak regarding the adoption of the agenda? Okay, do we have a motion?
I have a motion to approve the agenda.
And a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 5-0, and the motion of the agenda is adopted. Moving on to our recognitions and presentations, so we have Jill, can you introduce us?
We've asked Donald Huntley. He is a recruiting assistant with the census. To come up and make a brief presentation about the work that he's doing right now. He can come up to the podium right here. And then whatever we need to add to that, I have a few slides to add about the census that is coming up right now. So go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm a recruiting assistant with the census, and I'm specializing in El Dorado County. There's 4 of us here in this county, and we're about 80% there. Can you hear me?
No, not really.
It's close. No, it's not on.
It's not on?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Ah!
I'm sorry.
That's right.
So, my name is Don Huntley. I'm a recruiting assistant with the Census Bureau, and focusing on El Dorado County. We're about 80% there as far as our recruitment goes. So there's lots of positions that are still available. I brought a bunch of materials which are on the table over there that anyone is welcome to, if anyone is interested there. What I wanted to do was just very briefly talk about the history of the census, what it's like now, the timeline of the census, some misconceptions, some common misconceptions, and any questions that you may have. If at any point I'm unclear, please feel free to interrupt me and let me clarify anything. The U.S. Census was the first census that distributed political power based on population, based on the density of population. There's been censuses since ancient times, but it was the first one to actually distribute political power. And this doesn't sound like much now, because it's become a model for most democracies. We were the first, I'm told. It's always been managed federally. The reason for this is that states, but rather than states do their own census, it was considered prudent to have a central authority do it, so that the authority wasn't inflated for any state. So it's always been managed federally. It's in the Constitution, it's right at the beginning of the Constitution. When you read the Constitution, it's almost at the top. And the first census was conducted by Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, and he was reporting to President Washington. That was in 1790. And now it's this is the 24th census since then, the 24th 10-year census since then. There's been a tradition of technological innovation. The Hollerith Code was used in 1890, and that turned out to be the beginning of IBM. And in 1950, the first commercial computer, the UNIVAC, was used for the tabulation of the census. So this year we're doing something else. It's going to be the first year that we're going to do the census online, or offer the option to do it online. We can do it online. When I say do it, it's submit our individual, our household census forms. We can do it online. We can do it by phone, or we can do it by mail. The importance of the census can be overstated. First of all, it provides us with the apportionment of our representation. And in the last census, what I mean is the number of representatives, the number of legislative districts we have in each state. And in the last census, New York and Ohio lost districts, they lost representatives, and they went to Texas and Florida. This year, it's anticipated that we could lose a district in California, go down from 53 to 52. And there'll be other movements. Wherever there's movements in population, that will affect the census. It also affects our electoral college that goes along with that. There's 435 legislative districts, and for states that have more than one, the country tries to have approximately equal populations in each legislative district. So that's one important thing. The other important thing is funding. There's as much as $900 billion in federal funding that's distributed based on the census. And some of the things are for Medicare, Medicaid, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, Highway Planning and Construction, Small Business Administration loans, Section 58 for rural housing, Section 8 housing vouchers, state children's health initiatives, special ed grants, Pell grants for students. All of these things depend on the census. They're all predicated on the census. And it's important to keep in mind that whatever the census comes up with in 2010 is going to be in place until 2030. So it's very important. If we underestimate or if we undercount a community, they're going to be undercounted for the next 10 years. There's other things that the census, there's other censuses in addition to the 10-year census. There's an annual American Community Survey that's used. There's an economic assessment every 5 years. There's this online tool that's available from the Census Bureau called, it's free, it's called Census Bureau Builder. And this is what business owners and analysts can use to understand our community, the density of the community, the population, the demographics. So this tool would bring in jobs, would bring in businesses and services. So it's very important. The timeline is all built around this April 1st. April 1st is Census Day. And on that day, everyone's supposed to submit their census materials. And they do it that way because they don't want to double count anybody. They want to make sure that everyone's just counting once. So they try to do it on April 1st. This started, though, way back in January of last year. So there's a lot of infrastructure that has to be put in place. This is an enormous mobilization. They're hiring 500,000 temporary workers. It's $15 billion budget. It's a big thing. So on April 1st, that's Census Day, and the enumerator jobs that we're hiring for now are to go out and to the houses where people haven't answered the census and to get the information from them. At the end of the year, I think December 31st of this year, by law, the Census Bureau has to report to the President and in Congress the apportionment results. That is, how many districts each state gets. And then by next March 31st, the Census Bureau has to deliver reapportionment information to each of the states, where they set up things like not only their legislative districts, but their state legislative districts, their counties, and everything. It's all based on that result. I wanted to just talk very briefly about some misconceptions. One of the questions is, are non-citizens counted? And the answer is yes. Another common one is there going to be a citizenship question? And the answer is no. That was dealt with. It was, I think it was decided by the Supreme Court, I think. But there's not going to be one. And most importantly, are any answers shared with law enforcement? And that is absolutely not. They don't share any information with any government agencies. And this is all covered under Title 13 of the U.S. Code, and everything's in there. And myself, as a temporary census employee, I'm under a lifelong obligation of confidentiality. If I, any time in my life, if I use any of the information that I've come across, I could be sent to jail. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that there's some fraud and scams out there. And these are some things that the census never does. They never ask for Social Security numbers. They never ask for money or donations. They never ask for anything on behalf of a political party. And they never ask for bank or credit card numbers, anything like that. So if anyone's doing anything like that in the name of the census, watch out, because it's a scheme. And I mentioned that I have materials over there for the census, and we still have many positions open. There's in El Dorado County, in El Dorado County, we're hiring 1,500 temporary workers, and the jobs are 6 to 8 weeks long. They pay $18 an hour and 58 cents a mile, and it offers a lot of flexibility because people determine their own schedule, really. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer?
Questions from the board? Any questions on? Yes?
Not as much questions, but to confirm all the information you talked about, this I've been looking at while you're talking, is on the Census website in terms of timelines and all that, because the April 1st date is the date that it's counted, it's not necessarily a deadline.
Correct.
the full picture, so we can talk with folks about it.
Yeah, there's only two deadlines. The deadline is at the end of the year for report to the President of Congress for the apportionment of the legislative districts, how many representatives each state gets, and then the fall next year, March 31st, for the redistricting information for the state.
I'll just comment, thank you very much for doing this really important work. It's really critical that we have accurate data so that our community can get the resources to do it. So thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Well, thank you very much, Donald.
Thank you, Don.
Great. Okay, moving on to our open forum for non-agenda items, and members of the public may speak on any item that is not on the agenda that falls within the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors. Would anyone like to speak?
One of my issues is I haven't been here for a few months because this board here has been so dysfunctional and inept and incompetent that I've had trouble coming in here and even dealing with it. And of course, nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants to, one time someone came up to me that was on the previous board and said, "Why do you always get up and talk about the problems that they have here?" I said, "No, you have to talk about the problems because that's what we want to solve. I don't give a damn about the things that are being done right. I understand those." But the person said, "Well, if you stood up and told the board what a great job they were doing, then they would feel better about some of the things they're saying." Well, if I have no evidence to prove that they're doing a good job, I'm not going to. I had evidence every time I stood up there and told the things that this board is doing that wasn't right. Well, I sat down the other day and tried to think about the accomplishments that this board has had for the last year, and I took a sheet of print paper, and I put that down because I couldn't bring it, and I took a Post-it note, and I finally put that down because you people have never stated anything that you've done that's been a great accomplishment during the year, and especially budget problems. So one of the things that I did see that you had done while I was here, you decided to reward the community by taking and cutting that time that they have up here where I am now from 4 minutes to 3 minutes. We had a board that cut this back 4 or 5 years ago, cut us from 5 minutes to 3 minutes, mainly because he was sick of listening to us. Well, I'll tell you what, if the best thing that you can do is take a minute away from the community members that have been coming here for anywhere from 10 to 15 years and putting up with you people, then this is a great thing that you've done. You've taken 1 minute away from us. From how many in this community get up there and speak? 3 or 4 or 5 of us at the most. So your goal was to show the great things you could do by taking a minute away from the members of the community. Wonderful. Try and take it away from me. If I'm going to go to 4 minutes, you're going to have someone come up here and pull me away from this podium because I'm going to get my 4 minutes because we're entitled to it. One other thing that's happened here, you have something called Quimby funds, and you decided that you were going to use these Quimby funds to take care of a parking lot up in, I guess, Rasmussen Park. I'm going to tell you something. You took a whole act, the whole Quimby Act.
Excuse me, your time is up.
What is it? You took the whole act.
The board has the right to vote.
No, you don't have to vote.
And that's our policy.
No, that's not policy.
Does anybody
No.
want to extend the speaker's time? Okay, we have a motion to approve from Holly, a second from Felicity? Yes. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye, that's 5-0. Go ahead.
Okay, you took one sentence out of the Quimby Act, and you took one word out of that sentence. How simplistic can you be if you use that one sentence to use the Quimby funds for something that they're not entitled to be used for. I will take one sentence out of the Quimby. Quimby funds must be used in the subdivision which they are collected to build parks and facilities. I mean, that, it can't be any clearer than that. I mean, I'm not making something up, I'm taking a word that I can interpret one way or another. Quimby funds have to be used in the parks and facilities in the community they're developing. So you're going to violate this. I don't know if you've done it yet, but you're going to violate this, and it's completely illegal what you're doing. Well, I guess I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak?
Well, thank you.
Yes, I'd like to address my time this week. As board president, you have the final say on every agenda item. You've allowed the agenda to state, and you have read the public has 3 minutes to speak. Wrong. What you voted on at the November 2019 meeting, agenda item 16, does not meet the standards that the Third Court of Appeals established in Carlson v. Paradise School District. Item 13 on the January agenda is even more problematic. I've been generous enough in past meetings to point this out to you in a manner that has stayed in the CFD and been non-confrontational. However, you continue to, and allow the general manager to ignore the Third Court of Appeals. There will be no choice other than to file complaints with the Eldorado County Grand Jury. You, Monique, will be named in these complaints. I will also CC the judge overseeing the grand jury and the district attorney. I might even talk to my gym buddy, who is a prosecutor in the California Attorney General's office, and he is, trust me. You need to understand that the grand jury only has jurisdiction over elected officials and government employees under California Penal Code, Section 919C. It states, the grand jury shall inquire into willful or corrupt misconduct in office of public officers of every description within the county. Please note, Section 919 is in the Penal Code, not in the government or civil code. The Eldorado County Grand Jury isn't anything like law and order. It exists to police you. Now again, I'm giving you an opportunity to clean this up in-house without eliciting any assistance from outside agencies. But if you refuse to adhere to the Third Circuit Court's ruling on Carlson versus Paradise School District, you're going to leave me no choice but to file grand jury complaints with you. If you think I'm bluffing, ask Holly Morrison. Before she was on the board, I cited her as a witness in a complaint that I filed against a board member who was a sitting member of the grand jury at the time that I made the complaint. No, I'm not afraid to go to them, Monique. And I will. And I will go to them monthly. I will go to them multiple times monthly if I have to. And oh, by the way, I do have a complaint from the grand jury on my computer in Word form. I don't even need to bother with pen. I can just type it out and email it to them, or, in fact, go ahead and send it to them. But you need to understand, this board is not omnipotent. There are rules that you must follow, and if you don't, there are consequences. And if you wish to ignore those rules, that is your prerogative. But your prerogative carries consequences. And I hope you're ready, willing, and able to deal with those consequences, because I'm ready, willing, and able to bring those consequences to bear on you. You have the final say on this agenda. And if you continue to allow agenda items to be misrepresented and not meet the standard of Carlson, guess what? You are going to suffer. No, you don't need to vote. I have 4 minutes. What you voted on was not.
Our policy.
It doesn't matter. Your policy is not legal. It doesn't mean Carlson versus life. It doesn't mean Carlson versus Paradise.
So,
Period. Sorry, but then what you do is you call a police officer, get somebody arrested, we'll get it in court. We'll have it in front of a judge.
thank you for your comments.
Oh, you're welcome.
Would there be anyone else like to address the board? Seeing none, we will move on to our approval of consent agenda. I actually have two. I have a short correction on the conformed agenda and a really short discussion on the logo on item 6. So I'd like to report number 4 and number 6 on the consent agenda. Do we have any other comments?
What you can do is not pull item 4, but just
basic corrections and the,
Okay, yeah, so the correction on item 4 is very simple, it's just fix the number 5 to number 6. You'll see that.
the general manager's report was cited incorrectly.
So under general business, item 11, it says item 5, general manager's report, should be just listed as number 6. So I just want to have that corrected. So I did want to discuss item 6 then, so I really want to pull item 6. Any other comments from the board?
Like to pull number 5, just a couple comments on the general manager's report.
Okay, number 5 and number 6, any other? Okay, seeing none, do we have a, guys, we can hear you, could you please keep it quiet, we don't have a recess. Well, if it can, let's see if we can keep it quiet tonight, and we'll continue, if not, we'll talk more. All right, so, items 5 and 6, do we have a motion? To approve the consent agenda, pulling items 5 and 6.
I so moved.
Okay? Felicity and Ellie, and all in favor?
Aye.
I see 5-0. Okay. So, I guess I'll go ahead and start, since I pulled item, well, no, we'll go ahead and have item 5 start. So why don't you go ahead, Eric?
Just a couple of things. I don't know if you want me to read, we'll just go to the items that I wanted to ask. Okay, that's fine. In the first paragraph, you all attended CSDA Global Country Partnership Procedures, and I'm just curious, both from yourself and Dr. Carlson and your staff, if you have anything that you could report to us on that.
It's a good workshop. I think Felicity and I thought about it, and Kate enjoyed it. And I think you can always go to those and always take away something new for that. So I think it was very lively, very animated, and made it fun. And so, good.
Yeah, we learned some methods for running a meeting really well. There was a process where I don't remember exactly, but if there's been a motion.
Speaking in
Yes, if there's been a motion, if there's no objection, then it could be so moved.
If there's no objections from the board, you know.
So it was good, it was really good practice for this kind of communication environment, that to practice motions and seconding and amending and having motions and motions and within motions, how to handle all that. So, very good start.
One item just to thank you on, you mentioned the field trip, the parks field trip for staff and for board members. So I'm thinking that was really helpful. And the Recreation Department reports, Recreation Department report, the staff is planning for Summer Spectacular 2020, and I know that our sponsors were a huge part of the success of that last year. So I don't know how far we are in that, if they're moving forward, or just that that's on the radar.
Yeah, we're planning to send out, contact everybody probably starting in March. We're formulating those by the next person.
And then the last part on the administration department, the recruitment selection process of the recreation supervisor position. If you just give us a quick update where we're at with that.
Interviews are next week.
Any other comments on the the general manager's report from the board? All right, the only comment I wanted to make is on item 6. I was going to bring it out to the public when we're done with this.
The public can talk on each item.
You can, when you get your line. No, this is one item. If you look at item 9, it says items removed from the agenda. So you can discuss those items.
Okay, go ahead. I apologize. Pardon me. It's not the way we've done it in the past, but
So I'd like to bring your attention to attachment 6B under the naming of the Camp Park Lake Discourse. with golf discourse, which I think is great. I'm in full support of that name. I just think that the attachment 6B, the logo, should have the name of the park on it. It says Cameron Park Lake. It does not say Cameron Park Lake Disc Golf Course. So I think that needs to be incorporated. And, yeah, so it just needs to have the name in the, so that's my comment. So perhaps work with the general manager to get that taken care of. That sound okay? Just wanted to bring that to you. Okay, any other comments from the board on this item?
The public has the right to speak on each item that is brought forward to the board. If you don't, you can go back to the public station and the discussion has been had. Each item is discussed, taken out to the public to discuss.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board regarding these two items? Okay, we will take it out to the public.
I think it's obvious that Monique did not attend that conference, because Director Morrison is correct, and I'm correct. When you pull an item from the consent calendar, it becomes an agendized item, and you speak on it. No, my time, be quiet.
We'll give you your time back. I just need to check with our legal counsel, if this is something that we can discuss right now.
It's at least within the periphery of the subject of the matters that were pulled, and so while I would move to part of the board, if he wants to make a comment on that, that's fair.
Okay, thank you.
If you remember what you read at the beginning, each individual item will be, public will have the ability to comment on. When you pull something from the consent calendar, it becomes an agendized item, individually into itself. Now, I don't know what I've got to tell you, because I've never been on the board, I've never ran this meeting, but it seems like I know more about it than you do. And this is tiresome. This is your second year in charge. As to the first part, this meeting that they attended, did they teach the people who went there that when you conduct a meeting, you have to conduct it in regard to the state code, the state laws that govern these meetings, as well as case law, as per Carlson versus Paradise School District. I keep coming back to that because that is the law of the state of California that governs how agenda items are to be presented. You violated that in November on item 16. You violated it in January on item 13. And quite frankly, I am really tired of the fact that you are the general manager in the guise of the meeting and an agenda to give the barest minimum of what's going to be done. Resolution 13, item 13 last month, didn't even talk about superseding Resolution 2011-11. It didn't. Now, if I hadn't attended the meeting and I didn't know that, hey, I could come up and say, no, you got to do it over again. And I could get the courts to overturn that. Now, when are you going to learn how to conduct a meeting? Why didn't you go to this workshop? You're the board president. This is the second year, and you can't get things straight. I'm sorry. This is egregious. I know more about how to run this CSD meeting than you do, and this is your second year doing it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And more comments from the audience?
Mine would be exactly the same. I mean, you're going to sit up there and lead the dummy. You shouldn't be sitting up there.
Thank you.
Oh, no. You keep your mouth shut.
Oh.
You keep your mouth shut.
We will continue on.
I have the right to make a comment, and it's my turn.
You
And
come
I'm not
up to the
making it
podium
to you.
if you
I'm
want.
making it to Monique.
Mr. Carey.
Keep your damn mouth shut.
Mr. Carey.
No, shut up.
We're taking a recess. 10 minutes.
Good, we need a minute. Maybe 11 minutes, 10 minutes to take it out.
They haven't done that, have they?
They're incompetent. They're incompetent.
Jesus.
The trouble is, they think they're so smart. They
I've read a section of the Brown Act. That governs two things.
If you would like to
Thanks a lot, you guys, sorry.
No,
Sorry that you have to put up with that, this isn't fair.
Yes, so we just need to conduct business or Joe, I agree with you. Totally. Totally.
There were three people up there.
Yes.
He really is into doing things. Very sincere, very honest. Ray nothing to do the most about this. You know, you're saying good things about corrupt politicians. You understand that statement? He just made a corrupt politician. Show me. Yeah, he happens to be a corrupt politician who gets caught. The other politicians are corrupt, but they don't get caught. They get away with it. But he's so knowledgeable about this. How many did he can just pick up the one at that one doorbell? He picked them up everywhere. Barbara was worried that he had me sliding glass doors and he fell right by the glass door. So Brian, look over. So the other side's right, and you just put it back in the trash. Here's honesty. How many contacts? Oh, we gotta say, oh, yeah, put him in rating. It's a 3-day job.
We are now re-adjourning our meeting, and we are on item 9, consent agenda. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the board on this item?
Yes.
You've already spoken to us.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't. Jesus! Would you pay attention, please?
This says items,
No.
plural. Remove from the consent.
Jesus Christ.
Legal counsel, is it one or two items?
How do we need legal counsel for this? Could you please address the public?
All right, go ahead, Gerald.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Yep. And you need to apologize for this. You do, Joe. I agree with you.
To refrain from making.
No, it's not 3 minutes. I agree with you. I think the logo needs change. That was one of the very first things I noticed. It doesn't say anything about Councilor Rick, it doesn't say anything about It just says, you know, it's got this El Dorado sports thing. It should say, it should definitely define itself as a green at the lake. I agree with you. Fresh, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you. Did you have comments on the logo? Holly would like to have the logo first back on the board. Is it, right now, we have it out to the public. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board on this issue? Okay, bringing it back to the board. Holly, do you have some comments you'd like to
Do
make?
we have a mock-up of what we want it to look like?
What we'll do is we'll leave comments, and we'll take it back to the Parks and Recreation Committee, see if there is any other additional comments from the Parks and Rec Committee or from the community, and then we'll bring it back to the board.
Well, I would think that if we're calling it, we're voting on this, Cameron Park Lake, this golf course.
If that's the only addition you want, then yeah, we can.
Then I would think we have about this work on there or no?
I don't know that reformatting a logo during a board meeting is the right way to go, and so I would rather facilitate all the comments instead of doing this in a board meeting, and we'll bring it back to you. You don't need to vote on it tonight. So, Holly,
Okay, fine.
all we're doing is naming this golf course. So that's what we're voting on. We're not voting on it. It was a part of the attachment, we made comments, it's going to go back to committee and come back to the board. Okay, so do we have a motion? Oh, sorry. Do we have a motion to approve the items number 5 and 6 that were pulled from the consent agenda, pulling the logo out of the approval process? Thank you.
I move to approve the items that were pulled from the consent agenda, removing the logo from the list.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's 5-0. And now moving on to item 10, review and approve fiscal year 2018-19 audit. Jill? Take this over to Vicki, and she can make introductory comments, and then she can turn it over to the help us so much with it. Eric, you may need to share your, sorry.
Hi, I would like to present the final audit report for 1819. I do have a couple of comments I want to make before we do the presentation.
And let me interrupt again, sorry, because we've got new folks in our audience. This is Vicki Neibauer. She's our Finance HR Officer, and our,
Thank you. I want to point out that the auditor's opinion was the best opinion you can get for an audit. It was unqualified, which means that he had no findings, and no observations or recommendations were given either. So it was a very, very clean audit. And we did that with the help of Michael O'Connor, he's our auditor, and Sonia Kamiko, they are the Ide and Bailey accounting folks that have provided accounting services for us. They were previously known as BTD. I couldn't have done it without them. Michael has been a staff who was so great to work with. They were supportive and responsive. And Kamiko Fund, they just kept us on the reporting trail. It was great. I mean, it was a great effort, and I really appreciate everything you guys did. So, having said that, I'd like to present Michael O'Connor. He's from R.J. Ricard, the Certified Public Accountant, and he's going to do a presentation for us on the audit.
Good evening, honorable members of the Cameron Park Community Service District.
we can't hear you.
Yeah, please let me know if you can't hear me. Good evening, honorable members of the Cameron Park Community Service District Board. I'm here to present the financial statements for the year ended June 30, 19, I'd like you to turn to page 1 of the report. This is just a very brief presentation. We did do a presentation to the Budget and Finance Committee a couple weeks ago. Feel free to interrupt me with questions at any time. This is our auditor's opinion, and it is on our letterhead. And we do work with the board ever have questions of myself or any of our CPA firm, you can contact us at any time. The audit is ongoing, and any issues that come up or questions, we obviously mitigate them as quickly as possible. So this actually is the auditor's opinion. Keep going down. That's it right there. And as Vicki was saying, this is a unmodified opinion. It's the best opinion you can receive. Everything is done in compliance with professional standards. And that's all I wanted to point out on this opinion. Next, I'd like to turn to page 7. Page 7, this is your snapshot statement of net position. And snapshot of June 30, 19. And the last number at the bottom, total net position is your assets less your liabilities. You have $15.5 million, of which you see unrestricted is almost approximately $4 million. And that's all I wanted to point out, that your assets do very much exceed your liabilities. Next, I'd like to turn to the next page, which is page 8. Page 8 and page 7 are presented on a full accrual basis as if you were a full profit company. Page 8 shows your statement of activities. So this is the summary of activities for the whole fiscal year. The first column starts out with expenses. The district is in the business of providing services. Those are the cost of those services received. You've got over $7 million in cost there. Park and Rec District has to charge services for classes and other programs they offer, and then they have your grants. What's left over to the right, you have just under $5 million, which is going to be subsidized by your taxpayers. The taxes are there, almost $5 million, and you have franchise fees and interest. That leads you to an excess of revenue over expenditures of $544,588 there, as you can see. That's how the statement goes. That's all I wanted to point out on this statement. Next, I'd like to turn to page 9. Page 9 again is a snapshot of June 30, 19. And this is your balance sheet, but it's on a modified accrual basis. It's almost a cash basis. People like to see how much money they have put away in certain funds for certain reasons. So the first column there is your general fund. The second line from the bottom, you have approximately $3.5 million sitting there in your general fund. As you see, the other funds going across are all positive fund balances. Your non-major governmental funds, that's a summary of all of a bunch of smaller funds, and that detail is listed in the back of this report. You can see all the fund balances there are also over on the right. So you have $8 million in governmental funds. And the last page I'd like to point out is on page 11. This is your statement of revenues and expenditures and changes in fund balances, also on a modified accrual basis. We did closer to the cash basis. The fifth line from the bottom, you see your general fund, the first column on the left. You have a negative $134, $169 for the general fund. Expenditures exceeded revenues going across all the funded costs except for your other governmental funds with a negative $126, $127. And to the right, it still pays total about $50,000 negative expenditures exceeding revenues for this year. And that's all I want to point out in this report.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Don't we typically have LLABs in this report? Don't we typically have LLABs?
Yes, we do. And those are back funds listed in the back of the report.
When we went over in committee, we had a discussion of making the titles match our budget numbers. Budget titles, so it's easier for us to map our audit to the, okay.
You change the numbers.
So there's no breakout, we've always had a breakout of each LLAD.
Each fund,
Yeah,
they're all consolidated into one column.
I understand that. Do
Approximately.
we have that available for us?
Not in this audit, this goes to that detail.
That is something that staff provides. We break down per fund.
Right, so where is it?
It's not a part of this audit.
Has it been in the audits in the past, a breakdown of each fund, or has it just been a roll-up?
It's always been a roll-up, and it's a roll-up as part of the non-major governmental funds. And again, staff provides you with the detail behind these audited results.
Okay, so where is that detail?
That detail is not in this report. It has not been provided to the board at this time.
But the information is available at this time.
Yes, it
That's
is.
information.
And generally, we make it available during budget time. I believe that during budget time.
It was always included in the budget, and then we bring it forward in budget time. And that's what happened last year with the 3 and 4 bottom lines of the audit disappeared. And it was presented to the budget committee. Because we talked about it in that the auditor doesn't audit the numbers, or the numbers that are given from the district to the auditor that's included in the report. So it's not in the report this year.
Okay, so the audits in the past have not included a specific breakdown of LLAD fund balances. It's always been reflected as a roll-up in the audits. Item 2, the LLAD ad hoc is working on truing up engineers' reports and the district budgeting process so that those two documents align better. And we have a report that is coming to you next week. So, yes, the district has fund balances for each LLAD, but in this particular report, it's shown as a roll-up. When we go through the budget process, we will get each specific LLAD fund balance.
I agree.
Any further comments, Holly?
No?
Other comments from the board?
Yeah. Thank you, it's great to have a timely audit done and getting sort of on a regular basis, so I'm a certified internal auditor, so I'm really happy to hear that. And unqualified report, that's great. So I'm asking kind of a general education question for myself about other post-employment benefits liability on page 32. If you can just help me understand why you'll see the total OPEB liability at the beginning of the year goes down to a smaller number at the end of the year. If you could just educate me on how this works.
So the OPEB liability, this is for retirement health.
Please speak in that microphone so we can hear you.
Sorry about that. So this is for retirement health and benefits that are for the district lives. And these amounts are calculated by outside, basically actuarial calculation. And this information is provided during the audit, but this is part of how the calculation is. And as you see, about over $2 million for liability for these retirement health benefits.
So is that something, again, I'm just trying to educate myself, is that something that, and I know generally what OPEB is, but I'm just trying to understand the mechanics. So is it based on the number of people that are currently retired from the district, or is it the current number of staff? Like, I'm just trying to, or were you paying down a pot that's going to be even down lower next year, or does it come up again?
So there's a note from house. Okay, so the note starts on page 25.
Okay.
On page 25, it gives you the number of people that are included in there as active members and retired.
Okay.
And then also, if you go to the note, there's on page 26, actuarial assumptions, and some of the assumptions they use their inflation and their rate of return on investments. As well as there's a healthcare trend rate, which they use probably for healthcare premiums. And all that's used to calculate this liability. This liability does not have an amortization schedule as far as paying off like you would a mortgage, and it can fluctuate greatly from year to year, depending on the healthcare trend rate, depending on return on investments, and a number of things that can impact it. So this liability is an actual return estimate, so it's not a perfect number.
Okay, thank you.
And Felicity, you are correct. This number should be going down through attrition. So we're not adding a lot of employees to this. An employee to receive 60% healthcare benefits needs to work for 10 years here at the district. 100% is 20 years. And so the district was obviously more generous in the past, but this is going to trend down, which is a good thing for the district's sustainability.
I have another question. If you're on page 30, schedule of the local government's proportionate share of the net pension liability. I'm just wondering why 2019 is not a column?
Okay, so these actuaries are done measurement date, which is a year early.
Okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, they run a year behind.
Okay. My question.
Eric, any questions? Okay. I'll take this out to the public.
Yes, I have a question. I haven't read the entire audit, I did not find the things I'm doing. Does this audit include and represent the amount of monies that's returned to CSD by CAL FIRE and JPA?
I don't know about money return, but it has all
Can
those.
you please speak in your microphone? So we can hear you.
Probably our best bet,
If I may, perhaps, Michael, if you'll have a seat, and why don't we take public testimony? We can collect all of the questions and then respond to them after that. I think that would be better than taking it one at a time.
Okay, well, I need to let the public,
We need to vote on that.
No, you don't. What my suggestion is that we have given a staff report. Michael can sit down, we can take public testimony at the podium, understand the questions, and then Michael can get back up with the key to answer. I think that sounds great. So Michael, if you could sit down, we'll have our, thank you, sorry. And go ahead, please approach the podium and use the microphone so we can hear. Thank you.
I guess you already answered my question that does this audit reflect the amount of money the CSD gets returned from CAL FIRE and from the JPA and from CAL FIRE's leasing of our equipment, especially on high fire disaster year like last year, where they made a ton of money by renting out our equipment to CAL FIRE?
No, because we'll take public testimony and we'll answer all of those. Okay? Is there any other questions, Gerald, you'd like to ask?
No, thank you.
Okay? It'll work, let's try it. We will.
Oh, my God.
And any other further questions? Okay, let's go ahead and answer that. We have one minute. And Vicki, I think you have that answer, don't you?
yes, I do. As far as the rental of equipment income, that is capitalized in Fund 7, I believe. Let me make sure I don't want to misspeak. Yes, in Fund 7. So you can see where the fund is, what position the fund is as of June 30th, 2019. When we get the 1920 audit done, then we'll be able to see the June 30th, 2020. Did I say all that right? I get my numbers mixed up because I deal with them so much. So, the presentation in the audit is a presentation of Fund 7, and that will give you your statistical financial information. As far as the savings from the budgeted amount for fire and JPA and the actual amount, this report does not deal with budgets per se. There are actuals, there don't show variance from budget to actual, so your answer to your first question is no.
Thank you.
Okay, bringing it back to the board. Is there any, I actually have some comments. I want to thank staff for doing how many audits in 2 years? Is this our fourth audit?
I think 3 or 4? 3.
Three. Our third audit in 2 years. It's absolutely astounding. And to come out with this, our highest qualification or review is just amazing. And I just thank the Vicki and staff and our assistants for making this happen. It's huge to be up to date. I'd like to point out that we're in 2020 and we have an up-to-date audit. And I just think it reflects really well in the district. Just thank you very much for doing such a great job.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without these guys, really, truly.
All right, any other comments from the board? All right, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the end of year 18-19 budget, audit.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? And 1 no. So 4-1, and motion is passed. Okay, moving on to item 11. It's our first reading of proposed 2020-03 ATV abatement ordinance. And who's going to do that presentation? We have Fire? Chief Moran is going to come up and talk us through the ordinance.
So in front of you have the draft update to the weed abatement ordinance, and I just have some bullet points of the main changes to the ordinance itself. Overall, we went through and cleaned up the language. The last version was difficult to read, and it used different terms interchangeably throughout the whole thing. For myself, even trying to interpret it as someone who was applying it, it was not easy, and much less the people out there who were, required to follow the ordinance. So went through and cleaned up the language, made it simpler, easier to understand in general. Some of the key changes to it are, right now we send out mailers every February letting people know that we're going to do inspections. Next year, if this ordinance is passed, we will not be doing that. That will save us thousands of dollars. It will, the ordinance has been years educating both everybody out there, and there really is no need to tell them that they need to abide by this. They've been doing it for a while, and there's every other law and rule out there. You don't mail someone something and tell them that they need to do it. So I think it's a great education process for them. But I think it will save us a lot of money that we can aim towards different parts of this ordinance later on. The current ordinance ties our hands to doing our first inspections at a very specific week in April and in May. That is challenging for us to do that. So this ordinance will allow for our first inspections in April. May 1st is when the deadline is, just supposed to have their lots cleared by May 1st. So we'll do the first inspections in April, the second inspections will be done in May. So that broadens that time and allows us to get that done. This ordinance clearly defines the clearance requirements and mirrors Public Resource Code 4291, which is what we do across the state, and also the county ordinance, so kind of gets more in line with that. So it's not as confusing for folks in Cameron Park who would be in that zone where they're right there on the county border, and if they do, get inspected from the state. We have SRA and LRA lands in there, and there won't be any confusion there. So there are zones in here, and we actually put pictures in the attachments. I think pictures are really a great asset to help people understand and talk about the zones and what's required for clearance in the 30-foot zone and in the 100-foot zone. Another big change is if you violate an ordinance, it's going to be an infraction. That's the way it was, the way it is with the current one. With the updated one, it would be a misdemeanor, and that is if you fail to abate a fire hazard, it is a misdemeanor. So that is actually a health and safety code. So the plan would be, if we did need to cite someone, we would use the CAL FIRE police officers to come in and do that citation, and that way the district will not need to set up a process with the DA's office down in court and print the citations, and it would just be, that was kind of what I was looking at before, and I think right now it's just going to be a lot simpler just to have one of our officers, if we do need to cite it, and we work with the DA's office on that. Those are the big key changes in this ordinance.
Sherry, when you're talking about it being a misdemeanor, would you let everyone know that you have this, reach out, you talk to them first, and you have like this process that you described in the committee? Maybe you could share that with everyone?
The process
For it, like, you would ask them to comply, you just don't immediately write them a ticket.
Absolutely. So they would follow the whole ordinance process. They would get the first inspection, and it would say you're not compliant, and that would be in April. And then in May, we come back and we re-inspect all those who were not in compliance in April. And so they would get the second inspection. They have up until June 1st. And then there's a process of sending them a notice that they have not abated the house, and then you go into the full abatement process into June. If we were not going to abate someone and we were going to write them a citation, they would still do the first and second inspection, and then we would educate them and let them know, okay, if you don't comply and abate your property, if we give you the citation, it's a misdemeanor. We would explain all of that. I think our goal is to gain compliance. Remember, it's not the last thing we want to do is abate properties and write people citations. But having that ability is what will make this ordinance successful.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Not just a simple question. Of course, I read the whole current ordinance. I then realized that's the current ordinance. I also need to read the draft ordinance, but I did both. So I'm looking at the current ordinance on page 6. I think it says the enforcement officials include at least 4 individuals. The district general manager, CCNR official, battalion chief, and the park superintendent. So what I'm understanding is that in the new draft, are the enforcement officials, is it back to the fire department? Yes, and I'm looking for that page on the new one. Like did I remove all of it? I don't need the page number. I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Yes. Okay, and that seems like a much cleaner way to go to me too. And then it was the fire chief. It really means page 5. Okay, and I really appreciate the language cleanup for all parties involved, including myself, I should say. So because it's going to be changed to a misdemeanor, can you help me understand what the so they can be cited and then they can be fined? I mean, just help me understand what.
The violation here describes what. Yeah, the infraction is only $100, that's the original one. A misdemeanor, it clearly says, every violation is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail not exceeding 6 months and a fine not exceeding $1,000, or both. So, first of all, an infraction is something you get when you, like a traffic violation, is you pay a fine. The misdemeanor with the imprisonment and larger fine, and plus just having a misdemeanor on your record, it's not like all fireworks. If you have illegal fireworks, it's a misdemeanor. So a lot of our other things that we do enforce are misdemeanors. But we do also have the ability to, because we have a close relationship with the DA's office, to work with them on this. So if we did cite someone, they have the ability to wobble it down to an infraction if need be, and we're going to, like I said, this is case by case, not something we want to do, but just to have the ability to do this in here, but whereas before we didn't. It's going to take someone that's really egregious to be able to do it.
Thank you.
And this, I'm noticing it's going to appear in the Mountain Democrat for one day.
I think you can speak to that if I speak, but we do per law ordinance, we do have to notice this in the newspaper for our public hearing. So this is our first reading tonight, and it will come back next month for our final reading and approval.
And it's saying it's going to post on March 6th.
And I have one further comment. There's language in there regarding wood piles, and those wood piles have to be moved from zone 1 to zone 2, and there's some people who do not have 100 feet of distance from their building. So could you add some language or work with staff or legal counsel to add language such that if that distance doesn't, how you're going to handle that if that distance doesn't exist?
Okay, so on this page 6, and an answer to part of your question is, the zone extends, zone 1 extends 30 feet from each structure or to the property line, whichever comes first. So if you, only if your property line is 20 foot, then zone 1 is going to be from your structure to the property line. As far as the wood pile, under zone 1 requirements, the California Fire Code, you are supposed to relocate wood piles outside of zone 1. So basically, they don't want wood piles, you don't want wood piles within 30 feet of your home. What I could do in that case is if you have property that is not, doesn't allow for extend beyond zone 1, they relocate wood piles outside of zone 1. If, I could put something on there like if property line does not extend beyond there or something that allows, something like that. That if someone has a wood pile and your property is a smaller lot, you get to have a wood pile on the property. So just want to keep it under your desk.
So, yes, if you could add some language
Yes.
to address that.
I just want to make sure, because what we're going to do after the comments tonight is that we will rewrite the ordinance, and so I just want to make sure that we capture that language specifically for that ordinance in your motion.
Oh, right, okay.
So Sherry, why don't you suggest something and we can get it down?
So it's on page 6, it said relocate wood piles outside of zone 1 if property line extends, I actually have written something up.
Could we address in the motion to say addressing wood pile
So I'm
location?
going to, for the record, I'd like to get it.
So relocate wood piles outside of zone 1 if property line extends beyond zone 1. So if you have your property line that extends more than 30 foot, then you would need to move that wood pile outside of there. But if you don't, you won't be required to.
So we got it, and James, you got something. Okay, we're all good.
Okay, any further questions from the board before we open it up to the public? Okay, now I need to say we're opening the public hearing. Jason? All right, we are now opening the public hearing. If you have some comments on this, would you please post the podium?
Yes, I'm curious as to what areas this ordinance is affecting. I know that we have areas that are part of our recreation district, but not necessarily part of our fire district, but they're considered family part. Meager Road is one example. Does this ordinance include them as well, or is it just because they're in the county fire district, they fall under different guidelines?
Well, should we collect comments?
Yeah,
Do you have any other ones? We'll collect all the comments and Sherry answer or questions. Any other comments from the public? Questions? All right, please go ahead, Sherry.
So meter is actually in the state responsibility area, but I know what you're talking about. So on south of 50, it's still in the CSD. So there's areas that are in the CSD, but not in the fire district here. We would enforce this ordinance. Yes, because county fire does not have an ordinance. The only ordinance they have is the ordinance that was just enacted by the county itself. And so, and county fire isn't enforcing that yet, so, and it mirrors this, so it wouldn't conflict it. But any properties that are in the CSD, we would enforce this ordinance on them, whether or not they fall in the fire district.
Good question. Any further comments from the public? All right, we're bringing it, so we're closing the public hearing, and do we have a motion? Don't forget to include the word of the changes that would be. The motion to,
I move to approve the revised ordinance, including the language that was read into the record on page 8 about relocating wood piles outside of zone 1 if the property extends beyond 30 feet from the home.
okay? We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll say.
Okay, and all in favor? Aye. And it's 5-0. Wonderful. Moving on, we'll have our next reading next month. So moving on to now item 12, approve the revisions, management, and budget policy, reserve policy 3272, and unclaimed check policy 3270.8, and resolution 2020-5 to move $400,000 economic reserve, uncertainty reserve from the county to the Cameron Park Community Services District. Jill?
So this report tackles 3 items, and we kind of captured that in the agenda items. But it's 1, we're updating and strengthening our district reserve policy. We are changing where our economic uncertainty reserve is held, and we are identifying special funds to become a part of our reserve strategy. So first, let me talk about our reserve policy. Our reserve policy is attachment 12B, and if you turn to page 27, before we do have an edit to this budget policy about unclaimed checks. So I'm going to note it because it's right there, 3271.6. Right now, we don't have a policy regarding unclaimed checks, and so we need this policy so that we can efficiently address unclaimed checks. Where right now, we're trying to run around trying to find people that have unclaimed checks. Anyway, so this will help us out. Now, on to the reserve policy. So we, outline the purpose of our reserve policies. We also require, this policy requires annual board approval for revenues and expenditures in our reserves, so the board retains authority for that. We establish an economic reserve policy, as we did in 2011. And there is a capital asset reserve One, for the fire department, it's titled Fire and Emergency Services Reserve. And two, Recreation Facilities and Parks Reserve for the Parks and Facilities Department. The intent of those two reserves is to budget all capital assets in these accounts instead of where they are now in our existing budget, which is our general fund operating budget 001. So I'm going to stop right here and see if the board members have any questions regarding the proposed reserve policy. Go ahead.
So item 3272.6, page 28, I see is proposed to be struck, and that is that the appropriation or use of funds from these reserves requires board of directors approval. So what is the control now? Is it that it's subject to the general manager's limit, or could you spend all $400,000 in a day?
I struck it there because it's included in 327220.
Okay, so that's the annual,
Yes.
that's the annual use. So,
Yeah.
so I'm just curious, so is this something that you might use mid-year? And I'm just trying to understand, so it's annual review, but would you?
So our plan right now is to include it as part of our budget process.
Okay.
Yeah, so that you're going to see this in our, if you remember our budget timeline, we're coming to you in April with all of the general funds department, and then in May, we're coming with all of the special funds. So you'll see that and the reserves. So if this goes forward tonight, those funds will be designated reserves, so all the special funds and reserves will come in May. So then the board would approve it as part of the annual budget process,
and in an ideal world, it won't be needed, but at some point, it'll probably be needed when there's.
Oh, yeah, I think that this will be an active, this is something that you're going to see a lot of. I mean, you're going to actively use your reserves and spend from your reserves and put money into the reserve, so that when you know that in 5 years we need to replace a fire engine, maybe the strategy is to start putting that money aside now.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions about the reserve?
So the money that is now sitting in the county, we're going to put into the hands of the general manager.
So
To help manage.
So that is a great segue into my next section, is the economic uncertainties reserve.
But Holly, go ahead and finish with the next one.
So it's my understanding, well, let me ask you, what is the process for obtaining this money from the county?
So the next section of this report talks about the economic uncertainty reserve. It is cited on page 9 of the audit, saw it earlier tonight. And this economic uncertainty was probably established back in 2011 when the board first approved this reserve policy. The action at that time was to have the county hold back $400,000, which is about 50% of our general fund, as the economic uncertainty. Our recommendation is to move those funds from the county to Umpqua Bank. And it doesn't change the authority for spending those reserves. The authority for spending those reserves as it is now and as it will be in the future.
Can you keep it down to that? Thank you.
Is always with the board. So spending authority is with the board, not the general manager.
What's the process for getting the money?
So if the board chooses to relocate the funds from the county to the Umpqua Bank, is approval of this resolution. So if you approve the resolution, then we will move them. We want to do this for two reasons. One, we will get a better interest rate, so there's more money working on our money. And we've already proven that our interest rates at Umpqua are very good. And then two, I think that it causes less confusion having our money in two places.
So, did Did you speak to the controller as to the process?
Vicki has had some conversations with them.
Yes, I've had conversations with the auditor controller about this process. And,
Do you have any other comments on the process?
no, basically Jill outlined it very well.
So I spoke with the controller, and it's my understanding that the only way to request this money is by a vote of the Board of Supervisors. So my question tonight would be, have you spoken to our district supervisor to see if she would be in agreement? The money that is held at the county is held for 45 to 50 different special districts within the county. It was a county decision, while the Cameron Parks CSD previous boards may have chosen to participate. The only way to get this money is by approval of the Board of Supervisors, is my understanding from Mr. Harmon. So I
That
just
is
wondered-
not the understanding I have. This money is actually not held as a reserve at the county. It's just funds held back, and that needs to be clear. My understanding of this money is that it was approved to be set aside and put in the county treasury in response to a issue with, I believe it was Proposition 1A, where property tax funds were going to be funneled into education. And we wanted to have this $400,000 as a stopgate if that became an issue. Apparently, we had no problem. It came from our existing fund balance at that time, so it was excess revenue. And that's my understanding. And I've talked to Bob Piscano multiple times. And we've never spoken about the need for it to go to the county supervisors.
Well, I spoke with the controller, that's what he told me today, there needs to be compelling reasons. This is quite a bit of money taken out of this fund, so I have some questions about it, and that's what he said to me, so it would be interesting to find out what the actual procedure is.
Sure.
So I understand that this 400,000 is still going to remain the economic uncertainty fund. It's just moving from being held at the county bank into our bank.
It's
And-
still accounted for as a reserve held at Ellsworth County. So if you look on the audit, I believe it's page 9, you will find that there's a $400,000 reserve for economic uncertainty. And there's another one for $65,000 that's basically for the same thing. We will make a recommendation in the future to combine those two reserves, because they're basically the same, so it would be $465. But that is part of our fund balance, but it's held, it's not restricted, it's held for special purposes.
So you're not anticipating any problems transferring this with the auditor controller that, Holly spoke to? You don't see that as
I was not told of any issues regarding transfer other than I needed my board's approval.
So worst case, if it turns out that we attempt to move them and they say no, they just say no and they stay there.
Well, no,
Then they're still on our books.
Then we move it to the board of supervisors.
Okay.
All right, that makes sense.
so I've got another question on the management and budget policy, page 26. Understanding that in moving this money, in order to have these reserves available, item, I think 3270.40, the budget will reflect a higher priority for maintenance of the existing facilities and for the acquisition of new facilities. And 3270.50, future maintenance needs and operational costs. It just seems to me that the paving of refuse and parking lots should come from these funds rather than illegally coming from Quimby. We're misusing those Quimby funds. Why would we not be pulling it from this fund?
There's not a fund here, there's a policy, and I think that the board has already made a decision about funding. My last thing that I wanted to talk about, unless anybody has any questions about the economic uncertainties. The last item I wanted to talk about was that we are identifying 2 special funds as reserves. So last January, we came forward to the board and noted that there were several funds. One of them was for fire apparatus equipment replacement with a special fund. It was funded through the rental of the fire engine. And then there was also a special fund that was called per capita grant. And what that was a reimbursement from the state of California for grant work that the district had done years ago. I called up to the state, talked to our local representative about grants. The district has completed all of its requirements to meet that grant, and so that $150,000 approximately should have been returned to the general fund. But since we have it separated, we thought, well, let's create and start, that can be the seed money for the facilities and parks reserve. And so if you're in agreement with that, what we will do is we will have some seed money for our reserves, and we will retitle those 2 special funds as a reserve, and you will see this come forward in the budget process. And that concludes my presentation. So we have any questions?
Any additional questions from the board?
Just a comment to our conversation, make sure it's clear. Last paragraph of the recommendation here, it talks about staff will no longer budget for capital assets in the general fund 001. That does not mean it will not be in the budget. There's the line there. It will not be budgeted there. It's available if and when there are capital improvements exceed.
I expect that there is going to be an allocation from the general fund 001 into these reserves and start funding some of these capital acquisitions.
This is clarify, that's not going to remove it as a budget line, it will remain.
Right.
It's simply not credit for it, it has been.
Right. Right.
Okay, any further discussion, comments?
I think I'm absolutely over the moon about cleaning up and establishing a reserve policy and having funds to actually seed them. I mean, it's been a long haul from here to there, so I'm super excited about that. And I like this. I think this is a good move for our district. So, do we have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Yes, please, let's hear from the public.
Thank you. We shouldn't have to tell you every time. Okay. I have a question, and I'm concerned. We're taking $400,000 from the county, we're bringing it to Cameron Park, under the control of Cameron Park, under the control of the general manager and this board. My question is, what can this money be spent on? When can it be spent? How can it be spent? This board is proven more than willing to create slush funds and to transfer monies that they shouldn't be as per prior resolutions. You did that last month. So what confidence can the taxpayers in Cameron Park have that if you have this emergency fund, it's going to be used in times of need? And it's not just going to be used to pay for holes in the budget, so you don't have to make any uncomfortable decisions in an election year and offend any constituents. So does anybody tell me what the guidelines are on this money? And did anybody think to ask?
Thank you. Any further comments? know, I wrote down these questions. We'll get them, like the questions that we did. More questions? Okay, I understood the question was how and when we're spending the 400K.
How is outlined in the policy.
It is approved by the board of directors. And the when is at least annually.
As outlined in the policy.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get it. Could you repeat yourself?
In the policy, it states that the board of directors makes, that's how it's spent. They appropriate the money, and the when is annually. Vicki and I would like to take it through the budget process, but it can happen anytime.
That's fine.
Okay, any further comments from the public? Actually, we did that. All right, so bringing it back to the board, any other further discussion, or do you have a motion?
I move to approve these revisions to the management and budget policy.
Do we need to read the whole title?
Let me try that again. I move to approve revisions to management and budget policy, reserve policy 3272, and unclaimed check policy 3270.60, and resolution 2020-05 to move $400,000 held at El Dorado County to Cameron Park Community Services District.
Okay, do we have a second? And Ellie, second, all right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. 4-1, motion passes. Moving on to item number 13, review, discuss, and approve the 2020 district work plan.
So, and just, I'm sorry, Vicki and I will follow up with the auditor's office. We will present this resolution to them. If there is additional steps that we need to take, I'd just like to remind you, it is district money. It's not the county. So,
And I would also like to suggest that for the reserve policy, this reserve for uncertainty, it clearly states it's for fluctuations, unpredicted fluctuations between revenues and also expenditures during times of financial issues. I don't have it right in front of me. Right.
All right, moving on, item 13, do you want to kick that off?
No, this is yours. All right, so, item 13 is our district work plan. So, last year, we had, our president presented a work plan, and I thought that was a really good idea to help us decide where we're going and be able to compare what's coming forward with what is important to us and plan ahead. But I thought it was important that the entire board made comment and input into that work plan. So we sent it through each committee, of which each board member has an input, and came back with the committee results that are presented here in front of you on the district work plan. So these have all been through the committee. I think they're exciting. I'd like each board member as a committee make sure to refer back to this work plan because this is what we want to accomplish this year, and make sure to weigh anything new against that on how important that is, if it's more important or less important. And I just want you guys to hear what you have to say about it. Any comments?
Yeah, I'll comment. I really do like that there's kind of a solid plan here, and sort of, instead of sort of like, oh, I'm generally on the CCNR committee, and I just generally show up a few times throughout the year. That's like, it's actually an agenda, and it's something that can be followed throughout the year, kind of a long-term plan, if you will. So I really appreciate having this kind of plan, and same for Parks and Rec.
One question or comment obviously on the CCNR committee as they read through it. It might be included in what it says is reflecting current best practices, but just the ongoing public awareness for CCNRs, just talking to neighbors in the general sense that there's still a very large majority of the public that doesn't understand it, doesn't know what they need to do, and then the house paint is coming out, put a shed back, all these things. And so if that is included in the best practices, and just in terms of public awareness, or that's something that needs to be created as a separate item, just throw that out there for consideration for CCR.
One thing I'm happy to see, Station 88 will get some of this, and for additions to the fire engine, what do they call that?
Fire station?
The fire station.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of a nice thing.
So under CCNR committee, what does update the CCNR handbook to reflect current best practices framework for committee function? What does that mean?
So we work, Kate has been working on several different improvements to the operations of the CCNR office. The CCNR committee last year approved priorities, and so there's a priority list of what to help with Kate's workload, barking dogs, being out, safety hazards like bushes overgrowing, especially are a higher priority. We've also, she instituted with the CCNR committee's assistance variances for hardship. What we propose to the current CCNR committee is that we start updating our handbook now to capture some of those things that we've put into place with the past CCNR committee, and then taking a look at all the policies going forward. We have things in there that we're sending things registered mail. Nobody picks up registered mail. They just don't. And so it's not a good practice. And so those are the kinds of things that we're going to be updating with the current CCNR committee as we discuss with the current CCNR committee, kind of chapter by chapter, section by section.
Okay, that's the first part. And provide framework for committee function.
I'm not sure how to say that differently.
What you talked about was updating the handbook to reflect current best practices. What is the second part of the sentence?
I think that framework means what the responsibilities are, outlining the role and responsibilities of the CCNR committee versus the role and responsibility of staff. So that's what I imagine. Maybe says it a little bit better. Fantastic. Any further questions? Take it out to the, and Eric, to your question regarding outreach and education, the CCNR handbook does talk about, the goal is compliance and education and things like that. So absolutely, that is a part of that update process. And memorializing that, that's our goal.
Well, and my question wasn't simply about is the priority, how that actually gets to people.
As far as an outreach plan goes?
Yeah.
So when Kate started a year ago, we did actually very deliberately have an outreach plan. Some of you may have been here. We did actually some workshops, CCNR workshops. And so based on those workshops, we started making changes to the CCNR office. That's when the priorities came in. That's when the variance came in. The work in the CCNR office right now is, and this is a big request, especially of the Architecture Review Committee, is they really want some framework to work with it. And when you're making decisions regarding somebody's property, you really have to be on firm ground. And so I think that we will go back to a specific outreach plan, probably once we get these handbooks done, just to help with staff workload, because I know that is Kate's goal, is more people to know about these. back to a specific outreach policy, outreach plan in the future.
If I can comment, I think unless I'm mistaken, I think part of it is clarifying the authority of these architecture review committees, so that when they're like, you can't paint that shed pink, we know under what authority they're staying at, and I'm just making that up, but, and same even with the CPR, kind of what is the level of authority that we can tell people what to do with their property.
And this is going to prevent liability for the district, by getting those handbooks cleaned up.
Okay, any further discussion on our work plan? Great. Let's see, what was our task here?
It was approved. All right, do we have a motion?
A motion to approve the District 2020 work plan as written.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, 4-1. And so the district plan passes. All right, moving on to our next item, our board information items.
Number 14, general matters to and from board and staff. Let's see, we have our listed community meetings. Let's start down there at the end. Do you have any to and from?
A couple of thanks. Nikki, wanted to thank you for your work in helping us organize and schedule some training. I know you and I are still in process on that, but I appreciate you reaching out and keeping an eye on that, both for our insurance and all that, but just for us to be better at this. So thank you for that. And I know it'll come later moving forward. I'll wait till solar energy add-on for that.
Yeah, matters to and from, you done? Okay.
I'll just say I enjoyed the field trip to the park, and I definitely have a wish list. But now I need to find some financing, so, but I really appreciate getting a field trip to get out there and see what some other things look like.
Like your bunch. Holly, to and from?
I have a question about the agendas. I don't see any notes on the agendas. Is that just this month or what?
Because the conform agendas haven't been approved, and so we just have the agenda for reference. This is how it is every month.
We usually have some comments on what happened.
No, the conform agendas aren't approved, so we can't give those to you yet. And so we just provide what the agenda was.
We see them in committee when you approve the conform agenda.
The notes that from committee meetings are usually on the report agenda.
I don't ever recall seeing them in there, it's usually just the agenda. You get them in committee when you go to the next committee meeting. So this is the one you just went to. All right, Paul, you need anything else?
Your next, yeah, matters to and from.
Ellie?
If several of us are going to the upcoming training and community meetings, can we do the same transportation as we did for Parks and Rec?
Carpool? Yeah, sure can.
And on the second one, it's 2 days. Is that an overnight or back and forth?
It's a back and forth. At this point, I don't know that we've got anybody, that there is a fee to go to the legislative days if somebody's interested in going. And I can get you some more information. I'll give you a hard copy of that information. Certainly we can carpool. At this point, I don't know that anybody's going to the legislative days, but I know that there are several of us going to the 23rd.
On the 20th?
On March 24th.
I'd like to go.
Is there kind of a due date for the legislative days? I just have to make decisions about a month before.
That should be fine.
I also want to thank staff for putting together the Parks and Rec tour. I thought that was really, really interesting. I actually got more out of it than I suspected. I was impressed. And likewise, Holly and I did the Bath Lake tour yesterday, and that was really interesting. And again, more information than I expected. So thank you for putting those together and helping educate us. And we have a crab feed coming up, I believe, this weekend.
They are sold out.
Go ahead.
Before we go on to that, both of these are brochure.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so we've got a crab feed, we see this entire room, everybody there. Yeah? Okay, anything else on Matters to and from? Yeah, do you have anything?
At Hair of the Heart is next week, it's the 26th, and it's in the evening time, so if you want to come by and stop by, at Hair of the Heart is happening, collaboration, partnership with Marshall Medical Foundation, or Marshall Medical Center.
Everybody, let me know if I can go right.
Just by way, one anecdote, I forgot.
Yes, go ahead.
In reference to this golf course, working out of Placerville, one of our facilities guys was talking to me about it today. He plays regularly up the hill and is very excited about it, showing me pictures on his phone. He posted some of the holes that are being made, and so it's just nice to see that there's a reach beyond just the community. We're really excited about it, and he's anticipating reach from the larger region, because the closest ones are up the hill, Auburn, other places. So it's nice to get that input unsolicited. So very excited about what we're doing there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to LAFCO, Holly.
At our LAFCO meeting, we elected our 2020 officers and re-elected Sheila Benson as the commission president, Tim Palmer of the Georgetown Resource Conservation District as our vice president, and Mark Acuna, previous mayor and current council member of Placerville, as his majority. We completed a review and evaluation of our executive director, where we actually got to have a presentation by the executive director of what he had accomplished and his plans for the next year, and a review by everyone, each commissioner on the board, so a comprehensive review. We had a presentation by the CalLAFCO president, Pamela Miller, and status of particular urgent bills that are moving through the legislature. We requested a completion. We have multiple delinquent MSRs, municipal service reviews, and assessments that the general manager completed within, or the executive director rather, within a 6-month time frame in order for us to have a realistic conversation about consolidation of the fire districts. And we moved that conversation out of 6 months in order to be there prepared.
Thank you, Holly. All right, moving on to committee reports, budget admin, I believe that's Eric, the chair.
So, first item was the Eldorado disposal, coming to us to talk about an amended agreement, and this is driven first out of adjustments to California requirements regarding food waste and some of the laws that we have that are coming into effect 2022, and some of the changes that we'll have to make in their process, in their facilities, for restaurants, for residential. And so they're trying to get ahead of the game with us and with all of their contracts. To begin the discussion about what does that mean, what does that look like. There was not discussion, which we all want to understand, about fees, what that's going to do to costs. That is not obvious yet. That will be part of the discussion later. But one of the suggestions made there was to be proactive in reaching to the community and asking both for input and perhaps a pilot program in a small area of the community to understand how we function, how it works, to be efficient, see how people respond. So they're going to be coming back to us with that. And remind me, Jill, that for our next meeting?
March.
March, right. Part of it then also being because of the cost of all of that, they are asking to extend our agreements. We're coming up near the end of our agreement for 10 years. They want to extend that out so that they can be sure of contract and income so that they can account for the costs that it'll take to do that at the facilities.
It's also including the cost of the recycle centers.
Yes, and the direct side. And that was the other thing reporting on that, just the progress for that. And we saw the map and it looks good. We're excited to see that happen. As soon as the permits and all that come through. You saw the fiscal year audit, the final report recommendations, and reserve policy. That all came to meeting tonight, as well as the committee work plan for us. And that was any questions on that or any additional link that you'd like to make to that?
No, that was great.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to CTNR. I don't know who the chair is on that.
It's the staff and it's the chair.
Oh, how are you?
Carol Little is vice chair.
So how are you report on that? All right, well, can you guys, one of you, report, please?
How would you like to? No, go ahead. I'd say in general, the committee is moving smoothly. We're pleased that members of the community are having leadership roles in the committee, and the Mountain Democrat ran a story on the committee, some photos, just that did not have been elected chair, et cetera. We don't, let's see if I can find it. We looked at a couple of properties. There was one that had a violation that was needing to be cleared from brush, but unfortunately that revealed that it's a separate new violation of basically some stuff that had been hidden by the brush. So I mean, it's an onion, and you know, we have a very patient staff that are working on that. And the good news really is that the property owner is actually making some progress. And we had a temporary variance requested and approved for an RV while somebody's figuring out if they're selling their house or not. And we actually, it was really great, we had a couple members of the architectural review committee attend, and they apprised us of what they're doing and kind of saw what we're doing, so we're coordinating a little bit better stuff.
Thank you. All right, fire and emergency services. Ellie, that was in your chair?
Yes, it is. There's not too much more that they haven't spoken about this evening, except the crab feed. Everybody knows that's coming up, and everybody better support it or there will be trouble.
Yeah, we brought forward the weed abatement ordinance.
Yes.
Okay, Parks and Rec, and I don't know who the chair is there either.
I are.
Okay, go Ellie.
There's not too much more other than the time we discussed, but the trip we took,
What time?
this.
Oh, the disc golf.
But we did have a nice day exploring all the different parks and recs. And I saw several things I would love to see up here. And I will nag the general manager for a while, and then go into mine.
Anything additional, Felicity, on Parks and Rec?
Yeah, we enjoyed hearing from the landscape architect. We actually got to meet the selected landscape architect, and I'm just really excited to work with that contractor to start moving along and getting some of these parks to be improved so that some of our young families can really enjoy them. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
All right, solar energy ad hoc. Did you, Eric, you wanted to make a comment on that one?
Sure. We've got a meeting coming up next week, which I'm very excited about. We'll meet with ARC, the committee, with the library, with representatives from fire, to see the initial report and recommendations. So I'm very excited to see what they're bringing to us. And the fact that we're pulling in the library on this to be partners is a good place where we're at.
I'm all quiver for that one.
Yeah, I'm excited to report back next month.
Yeah.
What we get from that.
Okay, and moving on to LLAD, and I don't, again, know who the chair is there.
So we're just continuing to try to understand how things became so convoluted, what happened to funds where they were dispersed, trying to figure out how to deal with the shortfalls in some of the LOADs. And hopefully, our next meeting will be able to understand, with the funds that were requested from the county, have a same distribution funds to the different LOADs, have a count of that to move forward.
Thank you.
One of the things I'll be reporting at is our next meeting next week, we're going to get here from Mike, who will be reporting back. He had a meeting with the RJD, LLAD group, because there has to be some adjustment there, and that's one of the ways we're addressing that. Is one of the three groups that are on the water. So landscape changes, so just an initial public outreach, so maybe hearing from him to see what the reaction is on that, and then steps forward.
All right, moving to our next item is public comment for our closed session. I see none. We will convene to closed session. What do you say the time?
No, but I'd actually like to read what the closed session item is.
Okay, so convening to closed session, the board will discuss item 1, which is mine, pursuant to California Government Code 54956.9D4, conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, 1 case. All right, so 5 minutes, everyone?